Everyone talks about consistency and discipline when it comes to learning, but almost nobody talks about experimentation, one of the only ways to break out of a plateau. If you're not experimenting, your progress is going to stall at some point. Let's make sure that doesn't happen to you. We're going to break down why experimenting is the secret ingredient behind real skill mastery. By the end of this video, you'll know how to build your own learning lab, a system for testing, iterating, and improving so you never get stuck. Let's get right into it with an example about learning public speaking. You took a public speaking course, you read books about communication and storytelling, you watch other people's speeches, take notes, and try to replicate what they do well, and you practice in front of a mirror and record yourself. You're doing everything right from a learning science perspective, but you're not improving, and you're still nervous to the point of paralysis when it comes time to speak to a live audience. Why is that? These traditional learning methods, while effective, can only take you so far before you hit a wall. To try and get past the wall, you decide to try something unconventional. You practice the same speech you have been working on, but in the tone of a sports commentator, and then like an enthusiastic stand-up comedian, and then like the president addressing the nation. Now you feel more comfortable about giving the speech in its original tone. Why is that? Those experiments, even though they felt silly, pushed the limits of your comfort zone, and now stepping back to the original tone feels easier and more natural by comparison. There are many ways to incorporate experiments like this into your learning. Let's take a deeper look. Most learners think progress means consuming more videos, more tutorials, more notes. But consumption just by itself only creates the illusion of learning. You feel productive and you understand the concept, but you can't apply it when it matters. Think about it. You can read about writing a novel. This is fun. You're taking in other people's perspective and it's inspiring. You daydream about the novels you're going to write someday, applying all this cool advice. But until you get your hands dirty and experiment with plot twists, pacing, and tone, you'll never find your voice and you won't make any real progress. Similarly, you can watch coding tutorials for hours, but until you break something on your own and figure out why it broke, you won't truly understand it. Real learning happens when you're doing things, failing, adjusting, and doing it again. Here's why this works so well. Your brain learns best through prediction error, which is when your brain expects one outcome but reality surprises you. Each surprise forces your brain to update its model of reality, basically saying, okay, that didn't work, let's rewire and try again. This process of prediction, action, feedback, adjustment builds deep, flexible knowledge. Experimentation turns learning from passive review into active creation. It gives your brain real-world data to process, not just concepts to remember. But don't mistake experimentation for chaos. It's structured trial and error, and it looks like this. First, pick a single variable to test. In our previous example about public speaking, we experimented with tone. This time, let's experiment with pacing. Try rehearsing your speech slow and measured, and then fast and punchy. Think about which way connected better. Second, run short learning cycles. Don't spend a month before testing something. Try small tweaks every day. Third, capture feedback. Note what worked, what didn't, and why. Tools like Notion or ChatGPT can help summarize your notes and identify patterns. Lastly, adjust and retest. Repeating the loop is how you grow. Now let's look at how AI can help you with experimentation. AI is excellent at brainstorming ideas, and because of this, it reduces the friction of coming up with ideas, leaving you more time to start executing. You can ask ChatGPT to brainstorm different kinds of experiment ideas, such as unconventional drills, cross-discipline exercises, constraint-based challenges, and real-world simulations. Try a prompt like, I want to use experimentation to improve my learning of some skill. Give me 5 creative, unconventional drills to try. As usual, the goal isn't to let AI do the learning for you. In this case, it is used to give you inspiration to accelerate your experiments. If you treat every learning session like an experiment, your learning setup becomes a lab. Here's how to set it up. First, define a clear hypothesis. If I practice using the Feynman technique with ChatGPT, I'll retain more. Second, set measurable outcomes. I'll test myself 24 hours later. I should recall 80% of that information. Third, reflect and analyze. Ask yourself and AI, what did I misunderstand, or how can I reframe this concept more clearly? Compare your analysis with the ChatGPT analysis. Fourth, iterate weekly. Review what experiments worked and which didn't. You might have a fear of failure preventing you from trying any of this, but failure is an intended part of experimentation, and each failure is a valuable data point. The best learners don't avoid mistakes, they use them. and they know that the faster they fail, the faster they will improve. AI helps here too by removing the ego. You can test crazy ideas privately and fail 50 times in a row without judgment. Once you start experimenting in one area, you'll notice something interesting. You'll start experimenting everywhere. The way you take notes, plan your time, and even how you use AI. Instead of asking what's the right way, you'll start asking what works for me. That's when learning stops being a chore and turns into a game. So how do you start your first learning experiment? Pick one skill you're learning right now and ask 3 simple questions. 1. What's one variable I can test? 2. How can I use AI to speed up that test? 3. What feedback will tell me if it worked? Run that experiment today, not next week. Then tomorrow, tweak one thing and run it again. You'll be amazed how fast momentum builds. Experimentation turns learning from a flat path into a living process. It's one of the ways that scientists and innovators learn faster than everyone else. And now you can too. Don't wait for perfect instructions. Start experimenting, start failing, and start improving faster. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss upcoming AI learning hacks.